So in my experience in these latest 12 years as a UX designer, I was having a little bit of a retrospective on my career. And I was thinking, what has been like the biggest problem that I found as a UX designer working in different companies? So I try to talk tonight about this issue that I think is common, and I want to check with you if it is. So I'm going to talk a little bit about myself, just to introduce my persona. I'm going to define this common problem that I found in communication. I then gonna go through some hints, some tricks that I learned to become a better designer. And then, hopefully, I'm gonna teach you how to obtain focus in your communication. So, this is me. I am a lead instructor for Flatiron School at the moment. I had a background. I worked for different companies. I worked for NHS Digital for 2 years. I worked for the government, GDS assessment. I did startups as well. I worked for a very nice startup in the beginning of my career. So I have like plenty of different experience. And I'm talking just briefly about the school. So just to give you the idea of what we do in Flatiron, we have different courses, and we have 100% of employment rate of our students. We have some students here tonight, so if you want to talk with them after, or if you have any question regarding the schools and the training, you can talk with me after. But back to the common problem. So I found this thing happening all the time in my career, and is what I call the meeting. So the meeting happened, I think, to any of you. And I'm going to check if you know what I'm talking about. So the meeting is recognizable because usually it lasts 2 hours, 1 hour and a half, minimum. Its specialty is to be difficult to organize, difficult to schedule. Everybody got busy calendars. It's very difficult to bring all the people together in the same room. And all the people are important, of course, to be able to do the meeting, so no one can miss. And more or less, what's happened in the meeting is something like this. Everybody talking over each other, trying to get their idea through. I think, I wish we could, my idea is this. Oh, what if we try to do this? And the common outcome of the meeting is usually this. So how many of you recognize the meeting and have been in one? Oh, come on, don't lie. You have been in one, it's not never, okay. So I was basically trying to understand why there is this communication problem, and especially why everybody came away from this meeting usually thinking that no one really listened to my idea. No one get what I wanted to say. I didn't have enough time to talk. I need to do like a step back in order to fix this problem and try to talk very briefly about what I think it means to be a designer and how to learn to become one. Because it's true that the first thing that you need to do to be a designer is to learn how to design. But becoming a designer is something completely different than just be able to design, because above everything, being a designer means to be a good communicator. And this is like 80–90% probably of our work, to be able to communicate and to learn what communication means. So communication often we forgot that is a group activity. We think that relies only on the skill of an individual. But in order to communicate, we need somebody that is sending a message and somebody that can receive it. So at least it involves 2 people. And if something goes wrong, can be both ways. But also, the most important things for a good communication is the communication channel. And the communication channel must be open. If there is no focus, if there is not communication channel open, you can talk and nobody will listen. You can try to listen and you will not understand what to listen. So, going back to the meeting, and this is from my experience, this is what I think always happens, on most of the cases, is that while somebody is talking, there is no communication channel open in the meeting room. Everybody is thinking about something different and is not focusing on what has been said. Somebody may be really, really scared because I just got the invite to this meeting. I don't even know what I need to say. I need to say something smart, otherwise why I'm here? So I'm trying to recover and try to decide what to say next. I'm not listening. Somebody else is thinking about the time. She's really busy. She got another meeting in 5 minutes time. She's thinking already about the other meetings and the other 100 things that she needs to do today. And somebody also wondered, like, why I'm being invited to this meeting? Ever happened? Like, you're like, is this the right meeting? Like, why I'm being? So basically, how can you pretend that people listen to you if the communication channel is not open? So this is what a UX designer had to do most of the time, in my opinion, or what I end up to do, even when I was not in what is called a leading position. You need to learn to be organized, so you need to be able to have, to provide an agenda, specify the roles of the people that are going to be in your meeting or in your workshop. And you need to be very careful in state clearly what is the desired outcome of your meeting and workshop. And then you learn to lead. You need to set the vision for the meeting and the workshop. You need to be able to moderate. And then you need to have the amazing superpower of controlling time. So I'm going to go briefly through this point. So learn to organize, agenda, sending a clear agenda. How many times you get a meeting and there is no description or you don't even know what's going to happen? And it's very important for the human brains to cope with this kind of schedule, mental schedule, where I know exactly what's going to happen next, how much time do I have to talk, how much time do I need to be focused for. If you start talking and nobody knows for how long you're going to talk, you're going to lose people after 5-6 minutes. Like it's unavoidable. The good thing, but this is like a little bit of a spoiler, is that there are existing frameworks that can provide this agenda for you. So roles, you need to clarify what you expect from each people that you invite in the meeting. Sometimes you feel almost like obliged to invite as many people as possible to the meeting for different reasons and company policies, and then they don't know what you expect them to do. And they are just hanging around. Are they supposed to listen? Are they supposed to provide feedback? What kind of feedback are they need to propose? So you need to clarify the contribution and keep it fair, because you cannot even ask somebody last minute to come to your meeting and run the meeting for you. Or you cannot ask them to come with an amazing idea in this 5-minute workshop without having given any chance to study the matter beforehand. And last, you need really to communicate what the goal of the meeting is, but it's not as simple explaining what the goal is, because it must be realistic. It must be an achievable outcome, something that can push forward and provide some value to the company. Otherwise, you start falling in that inception kind of level in going into meeting for creating another meeting because you didn't solve any problem in the first place, and the first meeting was just to understand what the problem was, and then you don't, you go into this infinite loop. So all of these things, I don't think are kind of new thing, but you really need to master this in order to be a good designer. So now learn to lead. And to lead, I mean to moderate, to be able to be the compass of the team. And it doesn't mean, so some people think that leading means to be like a tyrant and telling everybody off, bossing around, telling what, no. Moderating is where you give a fair chance for everybody to speak. You make sure that the ceremonies are done properly. And this is something maybe for the Agile Roundabout, but yes, it's like something that you need to take care of. So what is really interesting is setting the vision of the meeting. It's similar to setting the goal, but really this is what we want to achieve today. And this is one of the most delicate things to do. Because if you don't express exactly what is the constraint of the problem and what you're trying to solve, what usually happens, especially if this, like a workshop, is the first workshop ever that you run in a company, you are going to open the Pandora box of the problem. So basically, you are going to start from one point. Oh, let's have a look on the homepage. Let's discuss the homepage. And then suddenly, everybody in the room starts dropping on you all the UX issues, all the number 45 that we keep seeing coming up since 1992, and we never fixed. Can we fix this? And everybody starts talking. It's quite nice to have that energy in the room where everybody is dropping problem on you, because as a UX designer, you feel like, oh, I'm in a good place. Like now, there is a lot of problem to fix. But then you don't want to go into that tunnel because you will never finish the meeting. And you will not be able to keep it to the point. So quite difficult. You need to be sure that everybody can contribute equally. And even if you are not the leader, but you see somebody try to talk over, talk too much, derail, going back to the Pandora box, it's up to you, usually, as a communicator, to say, look, let's try to keep the same time for everybody. And this is where, basically, you are trying to control the time. And also control the time of the meeting is really important. Because if you promise the meeting to be brief and to keep it up to half an hour, and then you push it to 40 minutes, 50 minutes, just because it's interesting, then your users, your coworker, will never come back to the next half an hour meeting because they will not believe you. So this is extremely important. If it is half an hour must be, because you need to create this trust. And it's most important, almost more important than solving the problem, really. So you know that it can be like half an hour every week, and we can try to move forward. And to go back to the maturity, you can start going like very, very slowly up to the level that you want to get to. So the best thing ever for a UX designer is that in order to solve all of these problems at once, you don't need to be innovative. Pete, I want really to invent something. No, why you're doing that? There are a lot of workshops and techniques that already exist, and you can use. And they give you the great advantage that hopefully some people in the room will already know the workshop. You don't even need to explain it. So for instance, how many people ever did the 6 Hats workshop? 3, 4, 5. Yeah, okay, you're cheating. Yeah, I know that you did. Yeah. And anyone did the Dreamer? The Disney Dreamer? No one. Oh, amazing. I like the Disney Dreamer because it allowed me to do my Mickey Mouse impression. Oh, boy. No, I'm joking. So the Dreamer, I'm talking a little bit about the Dreamer because it's the one that nobody heard about. The legend say that Disney used this methodology to be able to create ideas together with the coworkers. And basically, the main point is to be able to, in 3 steps, go from a situation where you don't know how to progress to something realistic that can be done. And you start, step 1, asking everybody in the room to drop ideas. Any ideas, like you can dream. Of course, you need to set the vision first. So like, we want to fix the homepage, or we want to know how to onboard more people. How we're gonna do this? You got only 10 minutes, but you can write everything. And then people can drop ideas on Post-it, and then the realistic bit comes. So you check all the Post-it, and people can vote if they think that they are realistic in a time frame, like 2 weeks, next sprint, 1 month time, with as many developers, as many designers. Can we do this? Is that realistic? Do we have enough information? And you basically took away everything that is not achievable. And then there is the critique. And then you try to think really, really hard if there is anything that can go wrong with that specific idea. And if there is, you write it down, and you create a list of problems against each of the dreams, if any. And then you can prioritize it. And you can say, OK, this is a good idea. We all like it. It's realistic. Not many problems. I think we can do that. We can discuss it further in the next workshop, in the next meeting. So I know this by heart. I did it a lot of time. And it takes from me all the weight of doing it. That's why I keep telling my students that you really need to master this kind of technique, because they can save your life, and they can be really helpful. Even if I'm impressed that nobody ever used the Dreamer in the room. OK, so yeah, basically, these are the 6 Hats. I'm not going to go into detail, but if you want to talk about the 6 Hats after, is another workshop that I really like and really useful. Basically, with one of these, or many others that we teach at the school, for instance, we can basically cover all of these in once. And the more you train, the more you exercise, the better you become at it. But beware the success, because it's very, like, it's poisoning your soul. And when you are successful, and especially when a workshop works very well in a company, they will like to have more. And they have been in the opposite situation where I needed to slow down customer, that they just want to have workshop every day because they were thinking that was a very great occasion where to discuss the problem. So you need to find a balance and give little bit of your UX expertise per week, per sprint. Teach people that they need to be realistic. Calm them down if you want to fix all the problems at once. And work your way through the issues. Teaching to respect the time, to respect the other people, and to be able to listen to everybody else's idea, which is the most important thing. So coming back to the initial point, we don't know what we have until it is gone. We have the ability to listen and to learn. We underestimate this power, and we realize when we are alone and when nobody is coming to talk with us, nobody is sharing their idea, especially people with different backgrounds, different cultures, different ideas. It's very important to be open-minded and listen to everybody, because everybody can have a great idea and be a great designer. Thank you.